the problem, use original instructions. Think outside of the box. Phone system restore. Try with a new user profile. Disable all unnecessary startups. Try a different way to the end. Swap hardware. Brainstorm the problem. Brainstorm the problem. Brainstorm the problem.
Good morning. It is October 17th, 2024, 9 o'clock and 42 seconds. That is not straight up. Second hand is not straight up. Somebody asked me why isn't I say straight up anymore.
John Williams said, "Hello, Doug."
Hello, John. That's not really a good excuse, but anyway, don't do your vote in the poll until I clue you in to the setup for that. If you've already put in a vote, I don't know, can you undo your vote or maybe change it once you hear the setup? Let's go over to do which. Let's go do this part. Over here, fix this thing, change the chat messages so anyone can chat, save that, come back in, and that's live commentary. Yeah, so here's the first thing we're gonna do. Why won't that click and select? There it is. But before we do that, was that a joke from Brian Lightfoot? Let's go have a look. Brian Lightfoot, when I make a mistake, I'll repeat it several times so they'll think I did it on purpose. That sounds like something that I have done and will do more of. All right, there's an ad break. And then come to the new subject, enabling get the latest updates as soon as they're available. How many of my 4 computers do you think will be offered 24H2 during this show? What I'm going to do is a technique for asking for that update that I have not seen demonstrated. I don't know if there's somebody out there that's demonstrated. I haven't gone searching for it, but there's this method of asking for the 24H2 that I think, if it works the way I want it to, it would be pretty good. So I'm going to describe the setup to you, and then you can put in your vote in the poll. Here I've got this this laptop that's behind me, is on the capture device right now, and I've got the Windows Update screen, and all I'm going to do is right here set where it says get the latest updates. As soon as they're available, I've seen documentation from Microsoft that says if we turn this on and then do the check for updates, that it will, if it's available for my computer, it should come promptly. But I have not tested this yet. I do not know if it's going to work. So I'm going to do that on that laptop and one of these B-Link computers right here. I'm going to do that on Baby Beast, and I'm going to do that on Big Beast. I'm going to go click on that right now, and then we'll go on with the rest of the program. And before the show is over, we'll go back and look at that and see if it's offering to install 24H2. So now is the time to go put your vote in the poll. And I haven't turned those switches on yet, but I want to point out I ran out of room. There wasn't enough room to use more words here, but this wait for my go is what I was intending to say. Wait until I give you the setup, but it wouldn't let me do any more words than that or any more letters than that. And I see the votes coming in. So let's go turn this on. I'm going to turn that on there and then check for updates. Then I'm going to take that off screen and I'll go to the next computer. I have to move my capture card to show you that. Okay, now bring that computer up on screen. And, oh, it's showing that it's doing extended display. That's not the display that's on the monitor.
Ken
so
Stoutlev said, do you have to uncheck the pause for 1 week on the laptop?
Do you have to check? That wasn't paused. This is a button to click on to pause it for 1 week. But it says up here, you're up to date. There is no pause message up here. So like if I click on pause for 1 week, then it says it's paused up here. So no, that was already not paused. Let's see, I want to remove that pause. Can I pause it? Oh, it's checking for updates now, but I haven't turned that switch on yet. Let's tell you what, we're going to pause that for a week again in order to stop that. Now this switch is turned on. I'll do resume updates. Okay, then we'll go to...
Ken Stout Live said, typical Microsoft misleading information.
There you go. Let's come over here to Baby Beast and turn the switch on, check for updates. And then we'll come over here to Big Beast, hit the Windows key, and then settings, Windows update. Oh, I'm already on the screen. And I'll say check for updates. Now realize I'm doing this while I'm streaming. I must be confident that the stream will continue fine or just ignorant. All right, how are we doing on those votes? People are saying 2 or 1 or less. Yeah, I couldn't even put a 0 because you can only put in 4 choices. I wanted to put 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I couldn't do a 0. So I figured, well, what am I going to do? Which one am I going to leave out? And I decided to say 1 or less. So I can't tell whether people are saying 0 or not. Gary Weisenberger, with the check mark on and a qualified PC and click on accept for updates is no guaranteed that you will get a 6 gigabyte download. Okay, I don't know how this will work. He's saying it's not guaranteed. That makes total sense. The documentation that I saw from Microsoft said that if we do that, then we'll get 24H2 sooner than we would if you just wait for your computer to come up in the queue. All 4 of your computers are on compatibility hold, so you will not get 24H2. Why do you think they're all on hold? I'm not aware of any reason why they would all be on hold. Big Beast, since it has Fortnite installed and therefore Epic Games, that uses the easy anti-cheat. And that is one of the things that is reported to be a hold for. Okay, so coming back to my list.
Read chat, please.
Ad break. I'll go check that chat message before I go on. Key says look at Steve Dodd at 11:59. So that would be before the start of the show. Steve Dodd. Hello, Doug and chat. I need your opinion. I want to upgrade my Intel i7 11th gen to Windows 11. Should I update to 23H2, then update to 24H2, or update to 24H2 directly? My personal preference is I would say install 23H2 and then let the Windows Update delivery mechanism deliver that to you, because there's the potential that there could be something about your computer that's not ready for it. A lot of people disagree with me. Some people will tell you to go straight to 24H2. So you have to make your decision. My preference would be to install 23H2 and then take the update when update delivery gives it to you. So go ahead and take the other opinions from chat and make your choice. Which door do you want? I don't remember how recently I did ad break. Oh, I'm supposed to be able to see this in here, but I don't. All right, I'm sure I just did it. So I'm going to come back here to topics. Did that one. Reply from IMZSOC. Regarding the Insiders program, we've had conversation with him back and forth recently. Now, he gave a very long, well thought out, well drafted response. I'm not going to take the time to read through it all on the show, but what I am going to do is give it to you in larger screen form so that if you want to go back and pause the video, you can easily read his response. I'm suspecting the correct pronunciation of this might be IMZSOC, like I am the sock, because I think he uses sock as one of his gaming names. Not sure about that. I'm curious. Am I right? And perhaps even a nickname of sock. So there's that screen, and then here's this screen, and then his last paragraph. And then there was some conversation back and forth between him and Pineapple Road more topics. I want to make sure I got all of this expanded. I'm not going to take the time to read it during the show because it's not really within the intended content design of this show, which is dealing with Windows issues that people are actually having. And I have a lot more of that prepared for today. So there's all of that. I'm going to give him a thumbs up and hearts, and I'll give him a timestamp to this point in the show. In this stuff that he's written there, there's a lot of that we agree on, points that we agree on. There's points that we don't agree on, and we're just going to have to move forward and stop arguing it because it's not of interest. It's not right, fair to call it an argument. It was a good, intelligent debate. Thank you for that. I hope to see you around some more, IMZ because you are obviously a well-spoken, thoughtful person. Now, there is another one down here. I want to go ahead and acknowledge another comment from IMZ The Rufus method adds entries into the unattended XML file to skip the online and other checks, if I recall correctly. And what I remember from that episode, I'm not sure if we covered that at that point, but somebody in the community did basically say the same thing from their checks of it. So thank you for chiming in on that one also. And then let's come back to topics. That's an ad break. And, oh, when I zoom that in like that to show those comments, I got to get back out of that screen. Then I can get back to my topics list because the best is yet to come. TG provided additional info available regarding the blue screen of death when connecting USB devices. I need to go set this one up. And his emails contain quite a bit of personally identifying information. And he's not a person that I've seen around before. I don't really know him very well. So I'm going to avoid even using his first name until he gives me permission to do that. But he's given me his first name, his last name. I have his phone number. He appears to be a professional computer technician. So, and this is in response to the conversation we had with him in the chat room on Saturday. I should bring that up. Let's go do that over here. All right. I wanted to have this. Thought I had this all set up. Did not have this piece set up. So I'll go get this. Go to view your channel, go to the Saturday show, bring up his portion of the chat to remind you what situation we're talking about here. That was from Saturday's show. I hope I'm remembering it right as being from Saturday's show. And TG. Let's go out further in here. There it is. There it is. So if I go look for his channel activity and look at all of his messages from that episode, this will remind you. He said he's having an issue with a HP Xeon workstation upgrade from Windows 10 Pro to 11 Pro. When he plugs in any USB device, he gets blue screen of death. So there's a lot of detail in there that he gave us about that situation. I'm not going to read through it all now. Sorry about hitting that button wrong. Let's get this scrolled back up. And his issue came up to this point. The stuff after that, I think, is other things that we were talking about. So I want to get on to what he has provided since then. Hi, Doug. I appreciate all the information you and your listeners provided. I dove into this problem headfirst today. This was from the 15th, 2 days ago. Here are the details of my visit. If it's too much, let me know. No, it's not too much. This PC belongs to a client of mine. It's used for email, billing, and contracts. I provide him with some support. He does the rest. It's an HP ZG4 RCTO base model workstation. He gave me the serial number. I removed it from here because he asked to keep it confidential. I went and looked at the information about the computer. It is a high-end computer, very high-end computer. And you'll see more of that as we go along. And I kind of feeling like it's kind of overkill for the function of that computer. It's connected to a peer-to-peer network, not a domain. I didn't have time to call HP, so I went to their website, entered the serial number, viewed the Windows 11 drivers for this PC, downloaded most of the important Windows 11 drivers to my SanDisk USB gig flash drive, went to the office. The PC was turned on this morning, so it was turned on when he arrived. But it was at a black screen for hours and never booted. I performed a hard shutdown, pulled the AC cord, pressed the power switch to drain transient power, plugged the AC in, and the system booted, but then got a blue screen of death while checking the PC. Now, at this point, did he have the thumb drive connected? I don't think so, but that becomes more clear later on. After a few more blue screens of death, I plugged in my, there we go. Then he plugged it in SanDisk flash drive and got an immediate blue screen of death. Without removing my USB flash drive, I let the PC reboot and I logged in. Now, as we go through this, what you're going to see is that there are other symptoms than the blue screen of death when he plugs in a USB device. I feel that's an important point. I'm going to try scrolling up here. Plugged in the AC and in the system booted, got blue screen of death while checking the PC. After a few more blue screens of death, I plugged in without removing my USB flash drive. I let the PC reboot and I logged in. Windows appeared to be very unstable, but I worked fast on the updates. The first time I read through this, I thought it said stable, unstable. Interestingly, with the USB drive already connected, I was able to access the drive from Windows with no issue. I copied the folder of HP updates to an internal drive on his PC. I installed the HP Intel chipset and did a restart. I installed the HP BIOS for AMD Radeon graphics, HP audio driver updates, restarted the PC. Windows immediately appeared to be more stable with no automatic blue screens of death. I copied the Windows mini dump folder to my flash drive. In system information, I copied the BSOD entry into my notepad files that are attached. He has had multiple BSODs every day for a week. I have looked at this information. I don't consider it to be helpful. I don't know that I'm going to bring it up during today's show. System information shows this is Windows 11 Pro for workstations. That's a little different flavor of Windows. I've never seen that version. I thought it was Windows 11 Pro. I have seen that version. I extracted and saved each of the event view logs to my flash drive. We don't have access to that right now. I don't think we need it. I plugged in the USB-C 3.2 flash drive and did not get a blue screen of death. That was USB-C. Plugged that in, did not get a blue screen of death. I plugged in USB-A flash drive and received an immediate blue screen of death. This shows me it's a problem with USB type A drives, not type C drives. Blue screen of death problem is easily replicated at this point. Using a mute button right now for a moment. My mouth is dry. Wonder why. Let's see. This shows me a problem with USB type A, not type C. Interesting, from this PC, he logged into another PC in the peer-to-peer network and received an automatic BSOD. So at this point, I'm thinking there is no USB drive connected. Logging into another PC caused a blue screen of death. So here we have two instances of a blue screen of death not involving the USB. I think at that point we can say, I don't think it's specifically the USB device. That USB device is triggering something that results in blue screen of death, but there are other triggers. So I don't think it's specifically the USB thumb drives with that piece of information. I ran out of time and needed to leave. I thought this visit was worthwhile. I agree. If you would like to have a Teams call to discuss this, I can send you an invite. No, I don't do that. I only do this free support during my live shows. I'm in the Chicago area, available to call in the evening. Okay, so then, and you're certainly welcome. And thank you for providing this information to us. It's awesome. And whoops, come back to here. Now, this is on the 16th, yesterday. I called HP support today. They mentioned the PC I'm working on is a commercial grade, and I should use the HPIA, HP Image Assistant utility on it instead of the HP Support Assistant. I'll be at my client's office tomorrow to see if it makes any driver firmware updates. I've got a couple of thoughts to put into this, TG, excuse me, and that is that you don't, I want to caution you against making assumptions. Assumptions get us in trouble as technicians. I would like very much for you to do the the memory test that comes with the HP computer. Just let it run through its basic memory test and see if there's not a problem with the memory. When I find many times when there is a intermittent, a problem that results in various different symptoms, like you have blue screens of death with connecting a type A USB connecting to another station on the peer-to-peer network, and there was another one. What was the other one? There was a third one. Whatever it was, where you got a blue screen of death. So yeah, I'd like for you to do a memory test. The drivers that you're getting from the website is just the ones that are specific to the manufacturer. There are lots of other drivers. When we do an export of Windows drivers using the it's not WMIC, it's the other 4-letter acronym where we export drivers. There's a ton of Windows drivers that are not coming from the manufacturer. Any of those could be damaged. Another thing would be to put in a different drive, a different storage drive, and do a fresh install of Windows. What I'm looking for there is when there is a hardware problem, oftentimes I found that an attempt to install fresh Windows will produce a symptom where it becomes apparent that there is a hardware problem. You might be resistant to admitting that there might be a hardware problem because this issue only happened once you did an upgrade. Well, it might have been that upgrade caused some portion of the hardware to now be activated that was not previously activated. And so now a problem that has been there for a while is causing you issues. So be careful to not make assumptions about what it could possibly be. That gets us in trouble as technicians. Okay, so there I'm going to hit an ad break. That is all the information that I have from him at this point. He was with us in the chat room on Saturday. Going to take a quick look at chat and see. Oh, there's Dobie Tech. Hello, Dobie Tech. I have seen enough from you, Dobie Tech, to know that you're not a troll. So I'm going to turn you blue. I saw your messages when I read through them after the prior show. So welcome aboard. DISM, thank you, Wintermute. That's the tool that we use for exporting drivers. There's a ton of drivers other than what you can possibly download from the HP website. Exclamation mark V is suspended with pay, pending an internal affairs investigation. Exclamation mark V has had 3 strikes against it, maybe 4 strikes, I'm not sure, but the most recently there was a strike that caused me to reconsider this. And exclamation mark V, Victor Vanishing, is damaging my desk. This desk goes up and down with electric struts. It is damaging my desk. How does a visual effect damage the physical components of my desk? Well, I'm going to show you this here. I have these wheels that this desk rolls around on, and that exclamation mark V is responsible for doing this to one of the wheels, only one of the wheels. It has damaged 2 of them. See how that shaft is bent? And that is a problem. So Victor exclamation mark V is suspended with pay because I'm not sure how quickly I'm going to get to it. So I don't want him to miss his paycheck. And is probably going to come back with a redesign being different because he also kind of interrupts the show at points where I'd rather that not happen. So exclamation mark V is not working for you today. I can make it happen to remind you what it is. This is what exclamation mark V is where these other Dougs jump in and I disappear, but you can still hear me. Now, then, is there anything else I want to catch in here? Topic I break. I need to get on to another. Oh, we're running out of time. This is my self-imposed 30-minute show. Now, where am I going to get back here? Yeah, that one. And then here, find my next topic. Viewer story, Aidan. You know, and Aidan, I have said his last name many times, but when I went back looking at my notes, at one point he asked me not to give his last name. So I'm going to try to stop saying his last name. It's so easy. I'm in a habit of saying his last name. So I apologize if that was really objectionable to you, Aidan. Blue screen of death symptoms and resolution. Gee, are we on a blue screen of death kick or what? So I'm going to go bring up his stuff. I got to position his emails so I don't expose his name, and check to see if it's named at the bottom of this email. It is not. There's 2 emails. And here's what he's telling us. I recently performed, let's see, I'm going to take that off screen for a moment, make sure pressing that button does not expose his name. I recently performed an SSD upgrade on a laptop, and I noticed something interesting about the original SSD. Unfortunately, I didn't think to take any photos of it when I was doing the upgrade, but here's a photo from after I completed the upgrade. He's showing us the SSD in the package that the replacement came from. This is not the laptop. And what he's showing us here is that it's one of these short SSDs, and this is the way the extension works to put it in the slot. The original SSD is an NVMe 2230. That's the 30 millimeter length rather than the 80 millimeter length, with an adapter to allow it to be inserted into a slot for a 2280. The new SSD I put in is 2280 NVMe. When installing the new SSD, I think I messed up, as Windows came up with a blue screen of death twice. The first one was only a few minutes after I had completed the installation. So a few minutes after. So it ran for a little while before the blue screen of death. After the second occurrence, the laptop failed to boot and started beeping, saying it detected a problem. I opened the laptop up again, and after removing the SSD and reinserting it, I then realized I must not have inserted it fully the first time. And when I turned the laptop on, it was able to boot normally. And I've now got to try and figure out a way of wiping the original SSD, as I forgot to wipe it before installing a new one. So I assume with this last comment is that you don't have another computer that you can put it into, and perhaps no longer even have that laptop, because I think he was servicing it for somebody else. Now, that's not the end of his story. He's got another email in here. Now, let me make a comment first about this. Inserting an M.2 SSD incorrectly such that it does boot up and run for a few minutes and then crash is just a head scratcher to me. I don't understand how that could happen. I'm wondering if maybe was there just not good contacts between some of those conductors, and taking it out and putting it back in essentially got you a better contact, or was it some other coincidental issue? I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. But here's some more information about the blue screens of death. Maybe there's more here. I don't quite remember what's in here. With the blue screens of death, this is the sequence of events that took place. With the first BSOD, the stop code was unexpected store exception. Now, I think this turns out to be significant. The word store here, not as in Microsoft Store. And I recall the laptop seemed to be frozen on 0% of collecting error details. With the second blue screen of death, the BSOD disappeared so fast I didn't get a chance to see what it said. When I have that kind of thing happening repeatedly, and I know I'm going to see a message, I'll take my cell phone and just have a video recording while that happens. Not even try to catch a photo of it at the right time, because that can be awkward. Your phone can go to sleep and so on.
John Williams said maybe it had an operating system on the 2280 SSD that was not compatible.
2280 SSD. Yeah, if it already had content on that SSD, that's a good point. Now let's see if he tells us more about that. With the second BSOD, the BSOD disappeared so fast I couldn't get a chance to see. The laptop's firmware may have detected a problem and forced a reboot at this point. So I'm not totally schooled on secure boot and where you might have issues there. And also, of course, is there any content already on that SSD? The laptop rebooted, then displayed a strange checking image message. I can't remember exactly what it said. And after several tries, whatever it was trying to do kept failing. The laptop displayed an error screen that was generated by the firmware and started beeping. I don't have an image or video of this, as I was more concerned with figuring out what the problem was. I tried shutting the computer off and turning it on again. No luck. It went straight back to the error screen. I clicked continue, but the system went straight back to doing the checking image thing, so I force powered it off. I then tried booting to Windows 11 USB. That worked, but the Windows 11 installer could not detect the SSD. So another piece that I'm wondering there is does that laptop require a special driver for the M.2 port? Is it, I don't think we've had the manufacturer yet. I think that there are some M.2 computers that actually use the Optane configuration from HPs and Dells. So I'm wondering if that might be something going on. And because it was the small SSD to begin with, also makes me wonder if there's some special driver for that. I then opened the laptop again to check the new SSD, and it was only when I removed and reinserted that I realized I must not have inserted it properly the first time. Not the first time I made that mistake, but the last time it was with a stick of RAM. Now, is this the first? Oh, he's recounting the entire sequence. So I think this is the first time that he went back and reseeded it. Okay, he's giving us more detail here than what the first email did. After putting the cover back on, I turned the laptop on again, and it booted into Windows just fine, like nothing happened. So I guess that answers it. Wasn't an incompatible operating system that was on that SSD. It was having to do with having inserted it incorrectly. Which still, I don't...
Jim KJ3
don't know how
and
that
said,
happens.
every time I hear Optane, I want to scream.
I understand, Jim. Additional information I forgot to add. I need to take this off screen and make sure that I'm not going to get to a point where I accidentally expose his name. Come on, clicking the wrong things. Oh, yeah, there is a point down there where I could expose. So I'm going to get this position first. All right, here. Wow, I'm really glad that I took a moment to check that out. Additional information I forgot to add: when I installed Windows onto the new SSD, I used the Windows 11 24H2 installer USB I had previously created, and also an automatic Microsoft account bypass USB. I am probably the weird person who can just do a fresh... Oh, wait a minute, back here. When I installed Windows onto the new SSD, I'm not sure that we're clear on when he did that. Did he do that? Okay, he did talk about booting from a USB Windows installation media, but my recollection is that was after he was getting blue screens of death. All right, I am probably the weird person who can just do a fresh install Windows from installation media and then load files from external storage devices and install software using a collection of installer files. I was going back on my records to see if I could tell. I thought that he's told us in the past that he works for a school district, but I'm not sure if that's the case. But I do think he supports a significant number of computers. For anyone wondering, the new SSD is a crucial P3 2 terabyte SSD. The old one was 512 gigabytes. I did discover something interesting with the new setup interface in 24H2 with using 24H2 and answer file to force the product selection UI to be shown now allows you to specify a product key even when one is embedded in the firmware. If you select I don't have a product key and select the edition that came with the computer, the product key in the firmware will be used for Windows activation. The answer files I have for automatic Microsoft account bypass are configured to force the UI to be shown. As I have discovered, the installer will otherwise error out on systems where there is no product key in the firmware. I'm not quite sure I understand that. I think I understand what he's saying. Some of you who are using Rufus created installation media perhaps have a better understanding of what that's about. I do not need an explanation on it right now because I'm out of time. So thank you, Aidan, for all of that. The computer is fixed by virtue of reseating that drive. But I knew the problem was fixed, so is it worth going through that?
Manor said,
Yes.
take a break and take a sip of water.
Thank you, Zavi. Since Zavi asked me to do an ad break. No, he didn't say ad break. He said a break. Yes, I'll do it. So I know that I had understood, not when I started the show this morning, but I had understood that the problem is resolved. And I questioned myself, should we go through this? And I thought, yes, because it's a story to tell of an experience that a technician went through that any of us could come across, and it adds to your experience as a viewer. If you're watching this video either live or on replay, this is an experience that can be added to your experience bucket that, oh yeah, I remember this happened. It happened to somebody else, but I'm having a similar circumstance, so I'll go try reseating that M.2 drive that I just installed.
John Williams said, check Gary W. chat message.
All right, thank you, John. I appreciate very much, very, very much when you guys tell me to do that. Jerry's, just turn off VMD option in BIOS. Optane gone. Now it is rapid storage technology. I suspect that's all that he was telling us about. Nobody tried to bring my attention to Neo Dawn. I really appreciate it if you let me know that somebody came in that's not Blue. Is that all of Gary's messages that I needed to get? I think so. Neo Dawn, welcome. Nice to see you. Blinking sound lights distracting, almost triggering physical effects that a negative, not wanting to look at a screen to see you from an A+ CompTIA certified tech. All right. Well, I appreciate the feedback. He's referring to the lights in the background that are triggered off of this thing, and I will just go turn them off right now. Boom, that easy. Now the blinking lights, what about gradually changing lights? How would you feel about that? I don't really care about RGB.
John Williams said, check your computers.
Yes, check your computers. We'll do that. I'm going to go take a look at my topic, see if I got through enough. Yeah, I'm going to hold this one off. So we covered those two stories that I really want to get to. So let's go check on the computers. We'll go take a look. Oh, let's go see what the votes say. So we record that on the video. 29 votes. 4 of the computers will be offered 24H2 as 7%. 3 of the computers will be offered says 10%. 2 of the computers will be offered 38%. And overwhelming majority, 45% for 1 or less, will be offered 24H2. All right, so here's Big Beast build. Security intelligence, check for updates, last completed, not offered. Now, Big Beast build has that easy anti-cheat, which I suspected would block it. I have not looked over to my right to look at Baby Beast because it should be on the screen when I push the button. Microsoft Intelligence. So nope, 24H2 not offered, and all of these computers are currently 23H2, and I'll show it to you here. Take my word for it. They are all 23H2 currently, and they were up to date with 23H2 updates. Okay, then let's go to capture device. Security intelligence, check for updates, no 24H2 there. Now I will leave these computers on through the day and see if it comes up. I'll switch the capture device from the B-Link computer to the laptop. And then bring capture up on screen. And so, not offered. Not offered. So, I did not know how it was going to go. I kind of hoped that it would be a quick, easy way to let Windows Update install the 24H2. So, I'm disappointed in that. And one or less. I can't tell whether you would have chosen 0 if you could have. But 0 was it. 0 was it. Big fat 0. All right. Another disappointment from Microsoft to Doug. Some things I think they get reasonably okay. And this one, no. Dolby Tech. Dolby. Yeah, like dough. Dough. He chose 3. Disappointed with Microsoft. How unique. All right, that'll do it. So I'm planning regular shows for Friday and Saturday. And outside of that, have a great day, everybody. I will catch you next time. Goodbye.